Why would I want to become a parent? I mean, why would I want to leave a legacy behind when I can spend everything that I have earned and worked for right now? It's like I'm giving away all my hard work to somebody who hasn't even done the labor. Like, why would I have the compassion or the fortitude to go out there and do something for somebody who's not trying to do for me?
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey YouTube, it's Terrence Barker, and today we're talking about parenting and legacy. And in the beginning of the video, you had seen some of the harsh and the cruel questions that we have to ask as becoming parents. But I'm gonna get up into it, and we're gonna get straight to the reason why you may want to do this as a parent in this video. Now, quick disclaimer. In this video, I said mistake. I was talking about the mistakes of men. I wasn't talking about God. God has more of like a repentance or like a regret. He does not make mistakes. So I got to put that disclaimer out there. All right. That's what I'm talking about. And I will show you up in here, and you will understand when you get to that part. So work with me. Try to understand what I'm talking about. A legacy comes from parenting. As a matter of fact, it is the backbone of parenting. A parent's job is to raise up a child that will live better and do better than them. It doesn't always come easy. It takes a lot of work and commitment, sacrifice, understanding, compassion, selflessness, and love. The teachings and provisions that a parent provides for their children is their legacy. It is their cultural and benevolent concern that is passed down throughout the ages that will graft to this child's mental DNA and become a part of them. It is so beautiful when played out correctly, but it is also equally devastating and traumatic when done wrong. This is why couples should plan before having a child or children. They can make the world or break the world. It's not to say that it's the be-all to end all if you make a few mistakes along the way, but it's a matter of insight for the long-term worldview. We all make mistakes, and I know I have as a parent. However, this is why I'm making this YouTube channel, because maybe my voice will echo in some way in future's time to correct the damages that I have done. This is my legacy, and people have the ability to correct their wrongs, but the name of the game is to make few mistakes and do few wrongs, which is why you want to be very selective as well as very discerning when it comes to building relationships in the beginning, especially in your youth. You are going to have to reap what you sow, and the world is going to have to taste the fruit of your legacy that you have left behind. And the object of the game is to put out more love than there is hate and cruelty within the world, because the world is a cold, cruel place. As a matter of fact, the world could be so cold and so cruel sometimes, you may wonder, is it really worth bringing a child up in this cold, cruel world? And I have to tell you, yes, it is. As a matter of fact, we have tons of examples. We have Mother Teresa, MLK, Malcolm X, Mahatma Gandhi, Simone Weil, Joan of Arc, you name it. There's a lot of people that had sacrificed themselves for the greater good of humanity when it comes down to it. However, the greatest example on why to give birth to a child in this cold, cruel world is actually the story or the narrative of Jesus Christ. And the reason why that is Mary knew that Jesus was going to die. One of the reasons why she knew that he was going to die is because she was an Israelite. So as being an Israelite, certainly she had to grow up hearing the story of the Messiah and how the Messiah shall live, and also the prophecies of the Messiah. So she had to give birth to a child knowing that he was going to die for the sins of the world. And it's like this. It's like, do you give birth to a child that you know who's going to have to suffer for others, and also suffer in a way that they are going to be broken and cruel and die out for the world. And I believe Jordan Peterson has covered this, and he's covered it in such a good way. And when it comes down to it, basically, Jesus goes out there into the world and he basically takes these hits, he takes these lumps and all these other things. But the reason why Mary answers the question yes to give birth to a child in this cold, cruel world, because maybe the child will live up in a way that will give light to the world, that will give love to the world. So what we're trying to do is basically, in that simple terms, is live kind of like Mary. We're trying to give our children as sacrifice to the world so that they can live in a way to make the world a better place. In its simplistic terms, that is what a mother is faced with to do. And then the father, is typically which is God. He is giving his child as a sacrifice to correct the mistakes that he may have made along the way in his youth. He's kind of like living out his life through the child, but not in a way that is forceful. But also at the same time, he is training the child for the ultimate gift to the world. This is what we have to answer as parents. And that's why I think it's so much as a lovely story, because yes, the child goes out there and does these things and he lives out there in this way, but then he comes back broken straight to the parents, to the mother. She takes him down off the cross, cleans him up and everything like that, and they have a burial. And then later on, she is fulfilled with the spirit and the legacy of the child once again. So she was the mother that not only gave birth to this child, so she was fulfilled once, but later on, the legacy and the spirit of this child, she is fulfilled once again. And she is more of a better woman than she was once before, as well as the child lives out the legacy of the father. It makes the father proud. That is kind of like the symbolism that we have as parents when giving birth or bringing forth the next generation into this world. Basically, there is no real reason to have kids without trying to leave a legacy behind of some kind. Really, what are your kids going to do when you pass away? If you've been grooming them to live and evolve around you all day long, they're not going to know how to live their life. They're not going to know how to function out in society because you've been making them live all around you. And in a way, you're doing what everybody is saying, is living this narcissistic type lifestyle, where your kids are an expression of your selfish needs. Now, there is a borderline between there, and a lot of people do that, live somewhat in that narcissistic thing. This is why we have these terms today. But one thing that is not really being said is going out there and living for the love and the betterment of humanity, trying to give something greater to the world, but not in the full dynamics of what you see is totally fit, but raising your child in a way to be independent of your idea of what but also implementing some of the good behavior traits of what you do know. And it kind of could get confusing sometimes as a parent, because we could get all caught up, because we're not like God all knowing. But at the same time, we do our best. And that's what it's really about. Us going out there and trying to make each generation better than we previously before. We are basically up in this long marathon race, and we're handing off the baton to each generation, which is kind of the idea that I've been talking about with this generational wealth thing. We're handing off the baton to the next generation so that they can live better than we have ever been before and make the world a better place.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.